Okay, I think that we are live.
Hello.
If you are watching the replay, thank you so much. If you are going to show up here, that will make me so happy. I would be so happy if we had like 5 people. I'm not even gonna lie to you. If you are watching the replay, thank you so much. If you are
It's not me.
It's not me this time.
Oh, it's me. I'm just having all.
It's not me. Oh no.
She's gone. Listen, the struggle, we're professionals who are really good at what we do. Don't worry about us. I'm sure it will be worth watching. There we go.
Hello. It was me. I'm having all the computer issues today.
Listen, you have not done a single thing that I haven't done on a different live, so we're not too worried.
It's all a learning experience.
Very true, very true.
So I'm Heather. You probably know. You're on my channel. And honestly, I anticipate tonight being kind of chatty, more so than strictly on topic. But you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Megan, or Meowth Vader. And I've learned a lot about myself today.
What does that mean?
It's been a day, okay, Heather?
Okay, Megan. We learned that Eastern time is
not Central time.
Oh my gosh. What about you, Stef?
It's okay. Yes, I'm Stef. My channel is Noveltea Corner. And yeah, I learned my memory is a bit of a liar when it comes to the first books that I've read. So it's been fun trying to go back through things. And I thought I was organized, but clearly I wasn't. So
okay, let's go over when we started reading romance. I had never read a true romance book before almost 3 years ago. It hasn't quite been there yet, a couple more months from now. But so it is all pretty recently. Unfortunately, the first year and a half, I didn't really document it, and I forget like right away. So there's that. But it's only been a couple years. What about you, Megan?
I learned that up until like 2 years ago, I was hard into YA and nothing else.
I don't understand how you learned that today, though.
Because I was like, I totally have read like adult romances because I'm like 30. Surely I wouldn't have just read YA. And then I was like going through in my head and then going through my Goodreads and then going through in my head again. And I was like, I literally only read YA up until like 3-ish years ago.
I think that's pretty normal though.
Yeah.
Like I started BookTube 5 years ago, and I was pretty much exclusively reading young adult at that point. So I get it because the majority of my books were YA, but I think I read, if my lists are correct, I read my first romance book in my adult life in 2016. And I was just saying to the girls before that I'm pretty sure that I had some category romance books when I was 12 or 13, but I couldn't tell you what they were or what they were about or where they even disappeared to from my life from that time. So I'm going to go with 2016 is when I read my first romance book, but I didn't really start reading them until the end of 2019 and last year. And they were last year's savior books, really.
I do know I was tricked into reading a romance book in high school.
How were you tricked into reading a romance book?
So it was like, okay, so I told, like, I always have loved, like, paranormal stuff. And one of my friends, when I was in, like, I think it was my senior year or my junior year, in speech class was like, oh, hey, I have this really great book for you to borrow. And I was like, oh, cool. She's like, it's about werewolves. And I was like, sold. Love werewolves. Like, I was Team Jacob when I was, like, 14, 16. So I was like, yeah, sure, werewolves, great. And it was, like, I think it was a Harlequin Nocturne adult romance werewolf story.
Were you scandalized?
I mean, before that, my best friend was like, hey, have you heard about this website called Literotica? So no, was not scandalized.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to be scandalized after reading that.
Okay. So we all kind of came from fantasy a little bit before romance, correct?
Yes.
So for me, it was reading Sarah J. Maas and realizing how much I loved the relationships between the characters, not just the romance, although romance is my favorite. I think she writes friendships really well too. I was really rooting for all of the different relationships. And so I wanted more books like that. And that's how I found BookTube. But I noticed that all of the recommendations were just other YA fantasy, and it wasn't really giving me the element of similarity that I wanted from the books. And so it finally dawned on me, wow, I love the romance in this, maybe. Crazy thought, maybe I should just go for straight up romance. And I did, and a couple of them were terrible, like so bad. But then I thought, okay, well, I can do like fantasy romance and historical romance, but contemporary is not my thing. Mind you, I never read a contemporary romance in my entire life. I was like, no, that's probably just very awkward and icky because like there's nothing to add to the storyline. So I don't think that's for me. And then I was trying to find more enemies to lovers, and it was on Goodreads, and the lists are just, the lists are ranked by how many votes they get. And so it's just the most popular books that you see in like the first 1,800 pages of the list or the recommendation of the subgenre or whatever. So I wasn't liking what I was finding. And then I accidentally got recommended Playing for Keeps as an enemies to lovers on Goodreads. Mind you, they're enemies for like a page. And then they're like friends to lovers. But it was, I think, my first contemporary. The cover is really terrible. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, I've seen that one. I think it's a free read on Kindle Plus.
All, Megan, Plus. I have recommended it in multiple videos, so I hope you've seen it because you claim to watch my stuff.
I do watch your stuff.
Like, I've never heard of this book.
I said it looks familiar.
So they're literally neighbors, and the family of the hero is really funny. They're all like really tall men who fall super hard for a neighbor, usually in a little bit of a hate to love situation. And they like fight over food, like they eat so much, and it's just very entertaining. And I was like, oh wow, maybe if you try something, maybe you do like it. Who knew? So what would you say? What would you say made you go, okay, I don't just need fantasy with a romance subplot? What books helped you branch out from that?
It's kind of a tough one. I think when I was going back through and I was looking at what was the first actual romance book, so I thought it was one, and it turned out to be a completely different one, mostly because it was at the start when I was starting to review books. So I had a bit of a NetGalley requesting habit, which I still do. And it was actually a Mal romance called Off Base by Annabeth Albert, and I still read her now. And it was a really interesting read because I quite like the romance aspect to it, but it really focused quite heavily on the characters and the character relationships. And I really quite liked it, and I sort of fell more into contemporary romance that way. And before that, I was one of the people, and I'm happy to say that I'm wrong, that I didn't understand the appeal to romance. But I'm glad that I got into it. And then I was really unexpectedly sent a review copy from an Australian publisher for an Australian small town romance book called Third Time Lucky. And I fell in love with it because it represented, well, one, it was Australian, so it represented a lot of things that I knew. And even though I don't live in a small town, I have family who does, so I spent a lot of time there. And I could see a lot of things that represented places and people that I'd known throughout my life. And it was just really nice and really easy to read. And I didn't have the same stress levels as when I was reading fantasy books or when I was reading my sci-fi books, because the tension is different in a romance book. So I suppose I got into it that way.
I think I've always liked romance. I remember, other than reading like hard-hitting contemporaries where someone always died, or something tragic always happened, and now I never read any of that stuff because I can't process sadness. I started with like Tithe and Amelia Atwater Rhodes's like vampire / shifter romance YA stories?
I don't know them.
I have no idea. What I think in the Forest of the Night was the first book, and like I don't remember.
Okay. Very long.
Yeah, so I think I've always read like YA romance, and then I just eventually moved up into adult romance, but always PNR or urban fantasy.
Yeah, I never read any contemporary contemporary YA romance at all, and I don't think that I would enjoy it as much.
There was one that I read that surprised me a lot, and it's actually a book that I now reread most years because it's a perfect summer book. Starry Eyes by Jen Bennett, and it's on the upper end of YA, so they're 17 or 18, I think, the two main characters, and it's a friends to enemies to lovers story. It's about camping and this second chance romance, which was really, really lovely, and it's still one of my favorite ones. But I really struggled with YA contemporary romance until I read that book, and everything else I compare to it, and if it doesn't live up to it, then it's not as good.
Yeah. So do you guys know the first paranormal romance that you ever read?
Yes. Ever read?
Let's say the first adult. It was a pure adult romance.
Last Wolf Standing by Rhiannon Bird.
I've never heard of this either.
That's what it was called. It was called Last Wolf Standing.
I don't think I've heard of like any of the books you guys have mentioned. So I'm gonna have to go back. And this is good.
I think from memory, it probably was Angel's Blood by Nalini Singh, because I read the Guild Hunters books before I read the Side Changeling books. And that's because I have this weird fascination with angel stories, and none of them are ever any good. And this was the first one that I actually enjoyed. And I know I tried a few, and I know I threw a few across the room. So this was probably the first one that I actually, as an adult, getting back into reading adult titles, was probably the one that I read.
Did you read the Fallen series?
Never.
I like how we both said completely different books.
I think I read the first Fallen book.
I just remember reading that when I was in like high school. It was
I would have read it when I was just out of high school. I couldn't tell you anything about it though.
Did you read Crescent City?
Oh, Sarah J. Maas? Yeah.
Did you like Hunt?
No. I'm very, very picky about my, and I don't know, and I'm still trying to work out what it is with the Guild Hunters books, because I know that other people aren't overly fond of the Angels and the Guild Hunters books. So I'm still trying to work out what it is, but I haven't done a reread in a while. So I've just been reading the new books as they've come out. So I need to, after I finish Side Changeling, I'll probably go back and read that.
I have a video soon that is demon and angel romance recommendations. And right now I have like one solid angel.
I'm not an angel fan.
It's really hard.
I'm just not an angel fan. Like I've read so many angel books and they're just so boring. And I think it's just because angels to me are so boring.
Listen, they do more than sit on a cloud and strum a harp.
Are you sure?
Gotta find one with some personality in there.
I've read a lot of different ones, and they're just. I think it's because most of the
recommendation,
time,
and it's a good one.
Actually, I have to rescind that. It would have been the Sookie Stackhouse series.
I
remember reading Sookie
a year ago or so. I DNF'd it so hard. So
I read book one.
I was like, I don't know what this is, but it's boring.
I read it because of the TV show, because Alex Skarsgård, but
yes,
and that's the only reason that I read them. And then I had to give up because even eventually I saw how ridiculous they were getting.
Did you guys? Do you watch Joshana see her channel?
So, yeah, sometimes.
Did you watch her Suki rants last year when she was doing the reread all year long? Every video she was like, "This dumb bitch, I hate her so much."
Yeah, she's not the smartest tool in the shed.
Every video, and I was just like, "Thank God I DNF'd the first book," but this is very entertaining.
I think the best one in that series was book 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that was the start of the Suki Eric storyline. Well,
how long past book 4 did you read?
They're actually probably sitting in the stack of books that I need to pack away into my storage shed. I probably read maybe 8, maybe 9.
I hate when you're reading a series and you're like, we've already peaked, and now I've read another 5 books that were as good.
Oh man,
it's been a while since I reread them though, so that's not happening anytime soon.
I have a bad habit of which I've gotten out of now that I'm spending my own money. I would buy, like, I read book 1 and I was like, yeah, I like book 1, and then I'd buy the next 5 in the series, and then I was like, book 1 was the only good book, and then I stopped reading after book 3, and then I just have that. That was my first DNF'd series. Was that I have hardcovers of this series that I read book 3, and I think I have up to book 5, and I hate this series so much, and I'm just so upset that I was like, man, this was a full Christmas. Like, this is what my family got me. I could have gotten something better. I'm still mad about it.
Traded to then.
What?
Why haven't you traded them in for like store credit somewhere?
Because they're at my mom's house in my old bedroom.
Listen, here's minimalism 101. If it makes you angry to think about it, you need to get rid of it.
It still makes me so angry. It's in a box to donate, but I literally was like, all right, here's my box, I'm going to donate, and then everything shut down.
Oh my God.
I was like, never mind.
Listen, they're accepting donations again.
I am fighting. Who said Anita Blake? Tracy said Anita Blake. I am currently fighting my way through that series. I'm like hate reading it.
Guess who DNF'd the first book?
Here's why I hate reading it. Because Katie Roberts said by book 11 it gets wild. And so I am currently in the middle of book 6 because I can't start in the middle. I can't. My brain won't let me. So I'm fighting through the series, just like getting through it. And I knew, because she was like, it's urban fantasy. And I was like, okay, I can deal. And so I'm still dealing with the fact that there has been no fiery scenes, even though we are 6 books in.
Oh, if you want smutty scenes from Anita Blake, you have to read Mary Gentry, which again, I'm making myself a lie because I'm remembering these books that I have read.
What is Mary Gentry?
Oh my God.
Wait, I'm writing this down. What is this?
It's her Fae series. And it's
I
haven't read it for years, and it was
I never read Reverse Hair before, and she's literally just like, I see you, we're gonna have sex with you too, and I'm just like, and tentacles and goblins.
Wait, tentacles? Are you saying the series has weird tentacle things?
There's a Fae that has tentacles, and then there's like one who's like really dark and like he's like kingly, and I'm like, why can't we just have him? Like, I like him, and we have to go through 30 scenes of sex with other people with tentacles and rock.
Oh, okay, well now I know what I need to read.
And there's like a little tiny man that's goblin, like a little one.
Yeah,
it's very weird. It is maybe the weirdest series I've ever read.
Yeah, but yeah, her books do turn to pure smut by very quickly.
I'm waiting to see. I want to see this like descent into smut, honestly. So I was like, I'm fighting through it. We're gonna keep doing it. Oh. I'm not a fan of Anita Blake. I don't think we would be friends. Like, we would not be people that would hang out together at all. Some of the side characters, yeah, maybe we could like party it up, but like, not a fan of her.
Yeah, it's a very specific style of book that she writes.
But I mean, I guess I'm able to at least like listen to it and not want to stop, which I think has more to do with the writing than like the character, because I still can't get through that 4th book in Immortals After Dark. I stopped Immortals After Dark because I couldn't get through the book with the ghost. It just did not intrigue me at all.
Yeah,
So DNF it and move on with your life.
I did DNF it, but that means I'm just not going to continue with the series because none of the books in the series have just like done it for me.
Yeah, I got to book 6 and I've had to put it down. I might come back to it. Every time I read the first book in Immortals After Dark, put it down for a couple of years, got to book 6. I think we're going to have to put it down for a couple of years and come back to it.
Yeah, there are
a lot of bad. I'm just not as invested in them as some other books.
It's hard to binge some things. And some things it's like, okay, I know I'm giving this book a low rating because I've read 4 in the last week, and now I'm just kind of sick of this particular style or whatever.
Yeah. Like, they're fun and they're completely crazy, but I just have to be in the mood for them.
I am super looking forward to when Anita Blake turns into a reverse harem.
It's like a love triangle for like a long time, right?
It's currently a very strong-ish love triangle, only she doesn't really like either dude.
And nobody got time for that.
It's just really confusing. It's not, I would definitely classify it as like a hard urban fantasy. There's like no real romance in it.
Yeah, no, I need the romance. Okay, so my first paranormal, I think, was Alona Andrews, Kate Daniels, which it took a few books to get there. And then I stalled out on book 8 because I read so many of their other books in like a very short period of time. So I read all of Kate Daniels. I read all of the Burn for Me trilogy. I read the Iron one, the one that's like a spinoff of Kate Daniels, not really
Iron and Magic
spinoff, and it like said a few things that happened, and I think that's part of why I sold out. But I do think that Alona Andrews is a fantastic place for people to go if they're coming from a fantasy to romance. I think that is a great segue. Elle Bell said that she went from paranormal to historical, which I find to be a very interesting transition.
Yeah, it took me a lot longer to get into historicals, but I know what you're saying with Alona Andrews, because I can sit down and binge her books, or their books, sorry, really quickly, and I've read most of their series now.
I am stalled out in the middle of book 7. I dropped it and never picked it back up. That's what I do. Like, that's my DNFing, is I drop it and I'll never pick it up again, or I just forget it exists.
I mean, that's where I am in Kate Daniels, but I really would like to. There was tentacles. It was weird.
I need weird. I'm like craving, I think I'm just really craving weird romance.
You need fast weird, though.
I do need fast weird.
I can't do 9 long books of weird.
There's something great about a bonkers romance story that is just bonkers at the start.
Especially if it's a novella. For me, a wild and wacky, over the top novella that I'm just like, but you can't do that though.
I think I just need to take a break and read some alien romances. Maybe that's what I'm missing in my life.
Well, if you want to read Alona Andrews and you want aliens, but you also want vampires and werewolves who are aliens, then read the Innkeeper Chronicles.
Oh yeah.
Clean Sweep is the first one. But
they're not super heavy on the romance.
No, they're not super heavy on. It's more urban fantasy.
Yeah,
but they're alien vampires and alien werewolves.
Yes, I never read the sister's book though. I really need to. I don't know what I'm doing.
Sweep of the Blade.
Yeah.
It was good. It was really good.
I need. See, I read all those things like back to back to back, and then I was like, oh, I need something quicker.
That one was fun because that's more sci-fi.
Is it?
Yeah, because it doesn't take place on Earth.
Does she alpha him or does he alpha her? That's what I want to know. I can't tell. Both?
It's a bit of both.
I'm ready. I need to jump back in. I have never heard of T.A. White, I don't think.
I'm just writing down everything I see.
I could be lying.
I'm going to check these out later.
That doesn't ring a bell, but that doesn't mean that I haven't heard of it.
Not that we'd ever know if you read them because you don't make videos, Megan.
I posted one. I have one that I was editing and then my computer was like, we have lost all footage, and I gave up.
Oh, that's sad.
Oh, no.
I'll come back to it.
That is sad. I will give you a pass on that one. No, you don't remake that video. You move on with your life.
No, I have the footage somewhere. I'm gonna get back to redoing the footage and just re-editing everything. It's in. I think it's in my camera.
Subgenres is good stuff. They're top tier.
Who is
I
Morgan?
personally like the Burn for Me trilogy the best. I think it's the most romance heavy. It's very alpha. And I really loved the family. I really loved the magic system. It was a good trilogy. And I'm kind of waiting to continue until the story arc books are out.
I can't wait. I can't wait because I love them. And I love Catalina so much. Like, I loved the first 3 books. And I think I read all 3 in like 2 days.
Yeah.
And then I started Catalina's books. And it's like I should wait so that I have all of them, but I can't.
I think the Burn for You series is the series that got me like officially into adult romances.
Which one is that?
The Suzanne Wright one, the first one.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Darken You, and the first book is Burn.
Yeah, that one.
Yes.
That one got me into it. Because I just realized.
I didn't know you'd read that.
I read the first 2 or 3 in that series because that was when I had first realized that I could download audiobooks from my library onto my phone. And this was like, this was actually a while ago. This was 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay. All right, Burn's on my TBR for this month. I really want to get to it.
I don't know what interference we're having. It could be me. I can't tell. I loved Burn. The first 4 books are about the same couple, and that's all I've read. She does kind of get kidnapped at the end of every single book.
That's why I stopped reading after book 3.
I took a break after book 3. And then I'm glad that I read book 4 because you got the end of their story and you get to find out all the horsemen and everything. But still, it did get a bit repetitive by book 3.
She found her.
Yay, Bree.
She found her, what is that called? Recipe, pattern, and just like went with it.
Yes.
Well, if it works, it works.
For that one, for that series. It was very, very similar stuff. Okay. What subgenre would you like, Steph?
Well, do we want to go historical romance? Because it's come up a couple of times.
Okay. Historical.
Mine was The Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics.
Ooh.
Which is the female historical romance by Olivia Waite, which I absolutely loved, and then spent about 5 months screaming at other people to read it.
I've never read it.
I haven't either.
Really
I've heard of it, and I've heard nothing but good things.
Same.
And it's not all that long for historical romance either. Like, I look at some of my other ones and go, geez, I thought it was longer than that, but it's not. I actually read it on ebook first. And then, just fell in love with it. And now I need to read everything that Olivia Waite has ever written. It's just going to take me a while. Oh, sorry, Izzy. We'll do something else after historical.
I feel you. I have read one historical romance in the last year and a half. I'm just no, that's a lie. I think I've read 2. But also, I'm just I don't care right now at all.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Megan.
That was funny. My first historical was a Tessa Dare. I've just always loved Tessa Dare, apparently. Except for Pride and Prejudice. Because
Pride and Prejudice is not historical romance.
And that's why I said Tessa Dare.
It's what is it? Technically a classic, a contemporary romance that's a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a classic contemporary romance back in the day. I also read Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies.
Yeah. I owned that. I don't think I ever read it, though.
I like it. It's very funny.
I think a lot of people get into Tessa Dare.
She
as their first intro to historical romance.
I do.
Romance in the Duke was my second one after I read The Lady's Guide.
That was my first one. Romance in the Duke was my first one too.
I like that one. That appealed to my nerdy side. Do you know, haven't read any of those authors. I'm a very, very slow historical romance reader.
I'm very picky on my historicals because historicals bore me.
Yeah. Outlander just intimidates me.
Oh yeah, no, I tried reading it. I got halfway through and then gave up.
Wicked and the Wallflower is really good.
So Megan, is it still marked as currently reading on your Goodreads?
It might be actually. Let me see. I never finish reading books. I either just eventually erase them or they're on there forever.
Oh, if I stop reading them, I delete them.
Let me see what's my latest book that I have on there. Currently reading.
I really like Tessa Dare. Honestly. There's others.
Cersei.
I have a video. I don't remember.
Yeah, if I think I was going to go favorite historical romance author for consistency, it's Tessa Dare in terms of enjoyment level.
So Cersei 2 years ago is still on my currently reading. I read 14% of that book.
What, Cersei by Madeline Miller?
Yeah. And then You by Caroline Kepnes. I read a third. I had 33% of that book. I was a third of the way done. And I think my last status update was also 2 years ago, and it said a third of the way done. It's kind of eerie, but in a good way. Apparently it wasn't in a good way because I immediately stopped reading that book.
I cannot deal with this level of chaos. You need to make a DNF shelf on Goodreads, and you need to move up. Listen.
Yeah.
I didn't try to leave DNF shelf. You do it on the desktop. Very easy.
My brain is like, you'll get to it eventually.
But you won't, though. No. You are lying to yourself and to others.
Yeah, I try to leave books unfinished on Goodreads, and then, about 24 hours later, I'm like, nope, it has to go. Just can't stay there.
Oh my goodness.
It'll stay there forever. It'll be 5 years.
One was The Naked Book, The Naked Duke. It's not The Naked Book. It's The Naked Duke by Sally Mackenzie. It was at my little library on ebook, and it's very fun. I've never heard anybody talking about it. There's a couple of books in the series that do tropes that I don't love, but this one I loved. So she is an heiress from America who comes to London, and she gets put in a hotel room, and the Duke, his friend, got him a prostitute with red hair, and he thinks it's her, so he just gets in bed with her, and she's like already asleep, and he's like, "Aw, like she's so sweet," and like he normally doesn't do this, and and then they wake up, and they get caught by like his aunt or something, and she's like, "Yeah, no, I'm not marrying you just because we got caught in a compromising situation," and it's like he's like, "You're gonna be my wife," and she's like, "Yeah, no, I'm not," and it's great. It's so great.
Yeah, I have to look that one up.
It's very cool, I think.
Yeah, Megan, that title, Currently Reading Purgatory, sounds like a great title for a video series.
Oh, it would be. There's only I'd say there's only 10 books, but there's way more than 10 books. There are, how many books are there in my currently reading shelf? I don't even know. It doesn't tell me.
I don't know.
It should tell me, but it doesn't tell me. I think one of them I actually finished.
See, all of mine go on my DNF shelf, but I do occasionally pick them up.
I don't even know if I have a DNF shelf. I think I have literally, it's deleted and gone from my life.
I can't do that
because I have 35.
I just check out on Kindle Unlimited. I'm just gonna pretend like you didn't say anything. Is what I'm gonna do. Just keep it moving. I either download it from Kindle Unlimited or I check it out from the library, and then it opens up to like page 185, and it's like, oh, I DNF'd this book and I forgot about it and added it to my TBR again. So now I keep track because it happens so many times.
I don't count my Kindle Unlimited books as currently reading because I haven't touched my Goodreads, like my actual Goodreads, in like 5 months. And I have a lot. I think I have like 5 to 10 books from Kindle Unlimited that are just chilling. No, I have 5 that are just chilling. Like I started them and then I was like, I'll finish them. And so they're just sitting there and I'm like renting around them. So I just turn in the 5 that I'm actively using.
I'm terrible. Mine's sitting in my Kindle Unlimited for a while. So I've got to go through and read them. That has to happen.
See,
Which is a shame because I just added 20 books to my April TBR. I'm like, maybe I better go add the 10 that are sitting on Kindle Unlimited.
I think that when it just sits there, it tends to get stale and stagnant, and you just skip over it. So I return them, or if it's on my Goodreads, if it's been on there forever and I'm still just like, yeah, I'm not picking that up today, I'll just delete it. And then if I actively want to read it, I'll add it again. It's usually because somebody keeps talking about it or whatever. But like, I can't do this 1,000 on your Goodreads want to read list, Megan. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Sure, it's ridiculous. What's yours like, Steph?
On my
Yeah,
my unread books on my Kindle, it's nearly 500.
mm-hmm.
So fun.
But it doesn't bother me because I can't physically see them. All my physical books are on that TBR cart behind me, and it's only 2 shelves.
That's not bad.
Like physical books stress me, like unread physical books stress me out more than anything else. Kindle books, I'm like, oh, that looks good, because eventually I literally scroll through my Kindle and go, oh, that one looks good, and I'll start reading it. So I'm better at picking things from my backlist on my Kindle than I am picking them up off the shelf. So
Same. So for some reason, I have a TBR shelf and a want to read, and they're different. So I have 263 on my TBR and 686 on my want to read. And then I think like 500-ish, like right under 500, like 480 books on my Kindle.
yeah.
Y'all are giving me physical pain.
I'm genuinely, like, looking at this mess of a Goodreads, I'm genuinely surprised anyone is my friend on Goodreads, seeing as I no longer update things and my shelves are awful.
Like my wants to read, I just double checked on Goodreads, is 185 books, and I'm pretty sure they're all different to the books that I have on my Kindle.
And I now want to delete 20 just so I have 666 books as want to read, because I think that'd be funny.
But if this makes you, well, this probably won't make you feel any better, Heather. I mostly use that shelf for when I'm watching videos and, oh, this sounds interesting, I throw it on the want to read shelf just as a reminder, whereas the stuff that's on...
I totally do too, but then I delete them if I don't read them.
I do eventually. I go through every year and I take off the things that I'm not planning on reading anymore, but it sort of sits there for a year.
You guys, if mine hits 100, I go on a deleting spree. Like, goodbye. I don't remember what you were about. I'm not clicking on you to find out. Goodbye. And I just go through it. I cannot even imagine.
You are bookish minimalist goals, Heather.
Yes, you are.
Listen, you're not going to read them.
I like to have options.
Everything is fine. Not everybody has to be right. I can be right by myself over here.
Should we pick another subgenre before we
totally
derail back into books? Megan, do you want to pick one?
Oh goodness, sure. I guess like romantic suspense.
Ooh, that's a good one.
My first one was Killing Sarai by J.A. Redmersky.
Never heard of it.
No, I haven't heard of it. Sounds good though.
I have like the first 3 books, and I think I actually read all 3. Like I got them and read them. So apparently I thought they were good. And that was like 2, 3. I've read 3 of them 2 years ago because I remember reading them on the bus in Korea. But I read the first one the year before that.
What are they about?
So it's basically like art. This girl gets kidnapped by a hitman. No, I'm lying. So this girl was sold by her mother to like Mexican drug lords. Because the head honcho had like a fancy for her. And then a hitman comes to meet with the Mexican drug lords, and she sneaks into his car to try to escape because she doesn't know where she is. She just knows she's in the middle of Mexico. So she like literally sneaks in and like hides under his seat in his car and finds like one of his guns. So she's just like huddled with one of his guns in the back seat. And then finally like he realizes there's someone in his floorboards, and she holds him at gunpoint to make him take her out of Mexico. And then it's like their story. It's like part action suspense and then like half murdery action suspense and then half romance.
Nice. I've just added that to my want to read shelf. Sorry, Heather.
I still like it. I would still reread that book. I read it twice already.
Ones on the shelf have energy, okay? They're giving you energy. You're like, oh, the possibilities. New ones are fine. It's the stagnant ones that need to be cleared out. Good thing. All right. What was your first romantic suspense?
I'm not entirely sure if it was my first one, but it's the first one that I could think of and could find on my spreadsheets, and that was Whiteout by Adriana Anders, which I read as a review copy at start of last year, maybe. And a lot of people have talked about it, but it's just bonkers, and I love it because it's set in Antarctica, which is one of my favorite settings for books. And have either of you read it?
Do they have sex on a snowmobile?
I don't know if it's. I can't remember if it's a snowmobile.
Listen, I haven't read it, but I think I might have heard about this book.
They do
on a
have
snowmobile
traveling across Antarctica, but it's there. So the heroine is a cook on a research base, and the hero is a researcher there, and then a group comes along and kills everyone and tries to steal ice core samples, and then they're on the run across Antarctica to another base. And it is completely insane, but it is fantastic.
Who kills over icicles?
Oh, they're looking for some ancient virus or whatever, you know. But it was great. But it's so much fun.
But it's
completely bonkers.
Oh, your alien book. They have sex on a snowmobile, which again, I don't understand why they had snowmobiles for the aliens, but it's fine.
I'm sorry, did you say alien and sex on a snowmobile?
Yes. Listen, Kayla has all of the alien.
What is this? What?
Yeah, I don't remember. But there was Frostbite, Sexy Times.
Kayla, what book was this?
Oh, so Izzy read it, I think. Okay, so my first romantic suspense was Behind Closed Doors by Shannon McKenna. This was, again, just something that my little library had. It has a plot device that I don't know if it would be called a plot device, but it has something that I don't like in that you get the villain's point of view. So, like, you see what they're doing and what they're planning, and the main characters don't know. And that stresses me out so badly. So badly. I'm just like, oh my God, look out. Like, they're right there. They're going to get you. But it's bonkers. It's so alpha. And the guy, the first one, it starts with he had to put cameras in her house for reasons. I don't remember. And he's like in the van, he's like doing the, what is that called? Surveillance. He's in the surveillance van, and he like sees her do like a striptease, like just for herself in the mirror. And he's like, well, thank God I'm the only one in the van, or I would have to kill my best friend. And so he just like becomes obsessed with her. And I was like, what am I reading? Like, this is like the beginning of my romance journey. I was just like, is this okay? I don't know. I like it, but I don't know if I should tell anybody that I'm reading this because it seems like very, very intrusive. And the whole series is like that. It's just people get murdered. But like I said, you keep seeing the villain's point of view, and I'm just like, oh my God, guys.
Heather doesn't like stressful books.
I get so stressed out.
Heather does not like anything remotely stressful.
It's a true story. Listen, like A Heart of Blood and Ashes, my palms sweat so badly when I get like nervous like that. So I'm just like wiping sweat and turning the page and like, oh my god. But it sucks me in, so that I have to keep going. It's terrible. It's the worst.
So you just do it to yourself then.
Only if it's worth continuing. Like if I cannot put it down. Otherwise, I'm like, DNF, you're stressful. I don't think so. Okay. What is another one? I have them here. I'm just not looking at them. Okay. What was your first BDSM book? I can tell you mine. Mine was Bared to You by Sylvia Day, which I really feel like is not a very deep one. What did you just hold up? Did you hold this up?
No.
Oh.
Just for measures.
That was very good. I will not lie to you. I don't feel like this one is all that BDSM, but it's in like all the BDSM lists and stuff on Goodreads. There's like some elements, but not like a lot. It's Billionaire. It's Rhysand from ACOTAR in a contemporary setting as a billionaire. I will say there's a lot of sexual abuse past in this. Like everybody has a past with it. So if that's a big trigger, you should skip it. But I found the series incredibly addictive.
Yeah. I think I'm not entirely certain Desperate Measures is my first one. It's the first one that I can remember. And the whole series, and then I think I've found a whole stack of books outside of that as a result of it. So I think that was probably a jumping off point, and I'm not including 50 Shades in here for reasons.
That wasn't my first one anyway.
I never read 50 Shades, so I'm good. I'm having Goodreads be my memory because I genuinely don't know what the first BDSM book I ever read was. I read Sunstone. Does that count? Anyone who's read that?
It's a comic,
it's a graphic
isn't it?
novel, yeah.
Graphic novel.
Or comic. I guess technically it's a comic.
I know of it. I haven't read it yet.
It's a BDSM comic / graphic novel. I liked it a lot.
I mean, send it to me because that sounds delightful.
I will.
I'm not taking notes, so I'm just gonna make you do the labor for me.
I'm still searching. Sunstone, Sunstone was the first.
What's that about?
It is. Let me see. Let me pull up the. Dude. It's like about this couple that start out together because they want to have like BDSM relationship, but not like a physical relationship, and then they realize that they have like a lot in common with each other, and so then they start like actually dating, and it's really cool. It talks a lot about what goes into BDSM and things like that as well. So it's like pseudo educational, and it's these two women writing their story, but it's written by like the real person is like an actual like it's a dude who's like writing about these two women who are writing their story. It's very meta.
And you lost me.
All right, that one I've had on my radar for a while, so I should actually get around to picking it up.
I think I read the first 3 or 4 until I could no longer find them at the library. That was basically it.
I hate when that happens.
Yes, you did, Izzy. And we love all your recommendations for it.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So let's go to dark romance. What was your first dark romance?
See, I had Desperate Measures for that one. So it did double duty.
Desperate Measures is so good. I wish everybody would read it.
I'm in the middle of it, and then I put it down, so we'll see if it ever gets picked back up.
I was going to say,
my habit.
in the middle of it.
I just put it down. I put it down last week, so there's still a chance. When it's like over 2 weeks out, then there's no longer.
So good.
How far did you get into it?
I am on. I think it's on my hoop list still, so there's still a chance that I will read it.
Tell us where you're at without.
I'm trying to figure it out. I think what happened. I don't know how to not spoil it. How do you not spoil it?
Oh my god! Send it in the private chat, and I will.
Chapter 17. I'm on chapter
I
17.
don't know where in the storyline that is. You
I
think
have
I
I have 2 hours left.
You're nearly finished.
I have 2 hours left of the book.
You have this much left to go.
I do have that much left to go.
Listen, the ending is really good. The ending's really good. So
I think I'm literally at the like I'm about to enter where the book just like all goes not downhill. I guess like the top. I'm at the top of the roller coaster, and I just haven't taken that plunge yet to finish the book.
Yeah,
I want to ask questions, but I'm not going to.
but I think when I started reading Katie Roberts' books, it was the first time that I was introduced to a lot of the different concepts, and it was around the same time that I started seriously being involved in romance tube as well. So there probably are other books that have dabbled in it, but I think it's a good one to start off with because it's well written and it goes through some things. But at the same time, you also have to read it pretty closely because of the consent or non-consent. So.
Yeah, that's something that like I picked up on right away, but not everybody does. And then it really changes the tone of the book for you. So I like Katie Robert.
Yeah.
And then her books just sound like Kindle. Like, what am I doing though?
Yeah. But I do like, and I know a lot of authors are doing now, but I do like it that it does actually have the content warnings at the start. So if people read that before they started reading the book, then you would have a better context for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My first, what are we on? Dark romance?
Dark romance.
Listen, I don't recommend this because it was too dark for me by like a lot. But my first one was Twist Me by Anna Zaris. Have you guys ever read this?
I've never even heard of it.
I've heard of the author. But
Again, I was looking on Goodreads and I was like, books with this on this list or whatever. And it's voted up. It's so dark. So she's 18. She turns 18. And she somehow, I don't remember how, they meet in the street or a nightclub or something. She catches the attention of this guy, and he is significantly older than her. He is an international arms dealer. And he kidnaps her off the street, takes her to his private island where there's one woman who's kind of like housekeeper, bodyguard, friend. And he flies the plane and there's no way for her to get off. And he just basically rapes her. And he makes sure that she enjoys it every time, but like it's not consensual. She has no experience whatsoever. And he kind of turns her into his sex slave for all intents and purposes. And he's a sadist. So there's a lot of that. And in the third book, he's still doing things that she's like, no, don't do this. And he's like, you're going to do it or I'm going to kill this person. And you know, they're an established couple for all intents and purposes at that point. And I don't like that. I like there to have been some change where he is now putting her first and will do anything to make her happy. It's like the third book and he's still like, yeah, no, I actually don't care what you say about this thing because I'm going to get my way. And yeah, it was so dark.
Yeah.
It was so dark.
Because I have one of her books on my TBR or Kindle. It's one of her sci-fi romances, I think.
Have you ever read Pepper Winters?
Mm-hmm. I have.
Did you read the Pennies one?
I read Pennies and I think I read Half of Dollars and then I put it down and never picked it back.
I read like the third book, like through the third book in that series. It's like the same level of darkness. It's like too dark for me. There's just too much stuff. I read like the third book and it ended on a cliffhanger where like they still couldn't be together. And I was like, okay, I can't keep doing this. I can't do 3 more books. So
yeah, I think my first dark was a Bad Habit by Charlie Rose. Does anyone remember that person? I feel like people talked about Charlie Rose a lot when I like first started reading booktube stuff. Do, 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 do.
We got the snowmobile sex book. It's Alien Mischief by Kara Bristol.
See, this one.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Yeah, no, I don't know that one.
I forgot who was a Charlie Rose fan. Someone was a Charlie Rose fan back when I started reading BookTube or watching BookTube videos, and it was this girl's brother's best friend is from the wrong side of the tracks, and then he like runs away from home while she's like in high school. She's like 14 or something like that, and he runs away from home and then comes back when she's like 18. But he hates her, and he tries to like make her life miserable by seducing her and then like breaking her heart because he thinks that she like falsely accused him of doing something illegal or something.
Classic.
Yeah.
These men, they're always
Men.
out for revenge when they don't know what they're talking about. What's your worst dark romance read? Layla wants to know. I can tell you what mine is.
The
I can tell you what mine is. I read it on the weekend.
I DNF'd it, so
Okay, well, you did DNF it. I finished it, but it was a struggle.
Okay, Steph, you tell us.
It was The Initiation by Nikki Sloan. I actually, I think I said in my wrap, I understand why people like it.
I'm waiting for
Push
Izzy.
too many buttons for me. Just no,
Not a fan.
not a fan.
No.
It's not even that dark a romance, but it just the stuff in it that was. I'm like, no.
Okay, so see, I think that this is a good point. I stand by while somebody else is abusive to the heroine because the hero doesn't have the power. I don't like that. I like for my hero to have the power, so we're not having all these conflicts that are from some third-party villain who is more powerful than our couple. I don't like that. Stressful.
Stressful.
Yeah. And after reading the first book, to me, there's not much the hero can do to redeem himself.
Same.
And that's
Such a little pansy. Just like you.
It really is.
Listen, little man, I don't know what's so valuable about your billion-dollar company, but let's get over it, shall we? I hate Addison Cain's books with the fiery passion. She writes Omegaverse. She's like the #1 Omegaverse author.
Do not read Addison Cain.
I read one book, and this is the type of thing that makes me so mad. It's when the author is good enough at writing that they get me to finish the book. I'm just like, darn it, I should not have finished this. I should have DNF'd this hundreds of pages ago. It's just like it's straight up abuse. And then this is what I'm saying. The hero then has sex with another alpha, like makes her go to the bathroom and lock the door and has sex with this alpha, and it's kind of to protect her, but also like, no. And that for me is like the straw that I can't take. I'm just like, no, no, we're not doing this. So then I looked at reviews and it's like book 4 and it's like, after all they've been through and they're still not happy. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm not. I read this like 3 years ago and I get so mad about it every time I think about it.
Yeah. I don't think I have any, I don't tend to read heaps of dark romance anyway, so I don't have, and I'm very particular about what I pick up, and it's either authors I already know or recommendations from you guys. Yeah, some things are not my kind of book.
See, I like for the couple to be happy within the dark trope. I really think that is the key to me enjoying a dark romance.
Yeah,
and
yeah. That's okay. I was going to say, Izzy, I agree. I think she's trying to play for power, and I hope that she gets it, but I will not be reading it to find out. Yeah, no.
Well, we all tried to read it.
We tried, and we were all excited to read it. We all went in with the benefit of the doubt.
We all were like, this is going to be great. Everybody swears this is so addictive.
We were pumped.
And then we were all just like, nope.
Nope.
Naima read it with us too, and so did Whitney.
Katie.
Whitney. I'm really bad. Really bad at names.
Katie also read it with us.
Who? Katie.
Yeah, Katie read it as well.
Random person. Yes, she was there too. I remember this now.
She's the one that was in a restaurant that literally said something like banging.
Bless her.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
She's good people. Okay.
Good people.
What's another one?
What was your first PNR? I feel like we had a lot of people who said that they like.
Didn't we do that?
Yeah, I think we did paranormal.
First ever.
Oh,
it's true.
That was what we did.
That wasn't my bad. Then I'll just skip it, guys. Next one.
You can share it if you had something else, Megan.
No, we're good. I have a lot of PNR. I think like the only videos I have up of me recommending books are paranormal romance books. So.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
What was your first sports romance?
Puck.
Megan, have you ever read a sports romance?
Straight up,
it was The Deal by L. Kennedy, probably. And I don't know if that technically counts.
It's a common one. I think so.
Yeah. New adult. Can't really remember all that much about it.
I'm not a fan of L. Kennedy, so I just don't read her books. But
yeah, this was sort of when I was transitioning from young adult to adult romance. So it was just what a lot of people were recommending it. So I read it, and it's clearly memorable if I don't remember anything about it.
Stef read a couple more Nikki Sloan this week.
Yeah, I did. I actually quite like I'm for the most part, I quite like Nikki Sloan. Just not this one.
I love hockey romances. Have I ever seen a hockey game? Nope.
I've seen a hockey game.
I've never seen
and not here. Never in Australia. I saw it in Canada. That was fun.
I was really into hockey for a couple of years. And then I had my first child and I just kind of fell off the bandwagon. But
I'm not a big sports person in general, so but I'll read about it. Yeah.
My family is very into sports, so I know a lot about it without being interested. So I just tend to skip it. I'd say my first one was probably Real by Katie Evans, which is a MMA fighter one. Okay. It has a bipolar hero, and I don't think that the representation is all that great as far as I can tell from reviews. I remember really enjoying it a lot. He's very alpha. He's literally fighting, and he sees this girl in the crowd, and he like points at her, and then he like has her come back, and she becomes his physical therapist and also his girlfriend eventually. But it was very addictive. And after that, I was like, I need more of these, and I went on a whole slew of sports romances.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to read Pucked.
I have read Pucked.
I have ignored Pucked.
Do tell.
I was like, maybe I should read that. I was like, nah.
It's so funny. If you like things that make you laugh like crazy, Pucked.
I feel like I have a very sophisticated sense of humor. So I don't know about all that jazz.
Yeah. No, I read Nalini Singh's rugby series. It's her contemporary romance series.
I did not know she wrote any contemporary romance.
Yeah. I don't know if it's. Oh no, it is a spin-off. It's a spin-off of the Rock Hard series. So that was she has a rock star romance series, and then there's some side characters who play rugby. I think the last one was Cherish Hard. So that and they're all set in New Zealand.
Wait. Is that the one that is like the play? Ugh. Is the first one of the rugby players? Is she a kleptomaniac? Because I DNF that book, whatever that book is.
Could be. I can't remember. It's been a while since I read them.
It was stressful.
It was stressful.
Things.
All I remember is the lead into the first of the sports player books is the hero is a former rugby player who now owns a business, and in one of the books, there's just this scene where she throws a stapler at his head because she thinks he's an intruder in the office.
I mean, I love scenes like that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Just greatness.
And there's one, I can't remember the name of it, that I really want to read, which is actually based on Australian rules football, which is different again.
Ooh.
So that one I want to try just to read, because I haven't read any Australian sports romances.
Oh, what was?
Yeah, that's fun.
I read a rugby series by L.H. That's not L.H. Cosway. That's another person entirely. What did I read? I don't even know.
Do you guys like celebrity romances in general?
No, not at all. I hate Rockstar and I hate celebrity romances. I think that they're boring.
Depends on the author. There have been some that I've enjoyed. I liked To Love Jason Thorne and To Hate Adam Connor.
I did like To Love Jason Thorne.
And
What is L.H. Cosway?
the Kristen Callahan's VIP series.
I read that one. That's the one I DNF'd, not that one. Maybe the first one in that series, I DNF'd it.
The first one in the series, she's not a klepto.
She okay. Well, I read one that was a klepto in the series, and listen, she got caught right away. And I was like, no.
No, this one she's like a secret blogger where she takes pictures of famous people and then critiques them on what they're wearing.
That sounds stressful too.
Stressful, but probably very accurate.
Do they find out that it's her and are like, why are you writing mean things about us?
Managed is my favorite as well, Izzy. I love it. I've got to reread it.
I think my preference for sports is either football or fighters like MMA. Managed is the only one that I read. No, that was a lie. Yes. The second one. I read the second one.
Yeah.
The second one is.
And that one's celebrity adjacent. It's not.
Yeah.
Or rockstar adjacent.
Here's my thing about celebrities. It's not that I don't ever like any of the books about them. It's just I don't reach for them because I don't like feeling like a fangirl. I don't like feeling like a screaming fan, just like, oh my God, he winked at me. I can't do it. I cannot handle being one of a million. And so it doesn't appeal to me.
I think I prefer the ones where one person in the relationship is completely clueless. Because there's the London Celebrity series, which is Lucy Parker, and they're fantastic. They're really, really good.
I like that if it's not the conflict that leads to the third act breakup at the end of the book, that you lied to me. I can't trust you about anything.
Yeah.
Are they like that?
I don't think, no, they're not like that.
Then I would probably really like that series.
Yeah, but London Celebrities is great.
Hold on. Let me actually add that one.
I'm trying to remember which is the first one. I liked the Austen Playbook.
Well, you said it's by Lucy Parker, right?
Yeah. Act Like It is the first one.
Came up right away. I feel like I have seen this recommended, maybe even by you.
I've probably done it. Izzy, have you read it? I know someone else has recommended it recently.
I'm into it. I like it.
Look, there's 5 of them, and I want there to be more of them.
Listen, if you see me delete that off of my Goodreads in a couple weeks, just now, I was in a mood, and I was like,
You'll just send me a message on Instagram telling me that I've led you down the wrong path.
I'll only do that if I DNF it, probably. I think I read this one. I think I read that one.
I think I've read Kylie Scott, but I'm not sure if it's that one.
I don't think I'm married in Vegas. And she doesn't remember. Maybe. Okay, shall we do another one? Let's do Mafia. I forgot to write mine down. I don't know what it would be, but I did see that somebody asked for it.
I don't read Mafia, so I literally don't know.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think the closest I get is the Wicked Villain series, which is sort of like a Mafia series.
You don't read Mafia either? Losers.
Did we talk about contemporary?
Kind of, not really. We can go for contemporary. I'll find a mafia.
No, you share your mafia. It doesn't matter if we don't have one because you can still share one, Heather.
Yes,
Listen.
you can. You're more than welcome.
I wasn't prepared.
I'm just trying to think if anything I've read is actually considered mafia romance.
Okay, probably the first one. I think maybe the first one that I ever read. This is another one where I was on my ACOTAR kick, and I was just like, I just want something like it. So, brief spoiler. In one of the books, somebody is stolen from a wedding, and I was like, I love this scene so much. So then in the synopsis for Taking Megan by Izzy Sweet and Sean Moriarty is he shows up at her wedding. There's like a massive gunfight. He's never seen her before. And he accidentally kind of ends up with her. And they're like running away, and she was being forced into this marriage. It was a mafia marriage, and this guy's like super abusive, and she didn't want to be with him or anything. And he's like, you know what? I have a great idea. So then he goes and he marries her, and she's like, but you can't do that. And he's like, well, I just did. And it's so great because then she like goes to, that's how all of them are. I've mentioned the series before. It's very insta-love, very violent. If they are in the torture room and you don't want like torture scenes, just skip till they're out of the warehouse. But the guys are so over the top and they're so insta-love, and they're like, I'll see you. You're the one. I'm going to marry you. I'm going to put a baby in you this week. And if it takes you a couple weeks to get on board with it, that's okay. Like, you're not going anywhere. So there's that whole vibe. It's so great. It's so great. I love it so much. I swear to God, it's probably not for like 90% of people, but I get so animated about it because I love it.
Does Raise count as a?
Yes, it does.
Okay, then I've read Raise.
Yeah,
I now think I know who suggested Charlie Rose books like way a long time ago, and I think it was Jess from Peace Love Books.
Oh yeah.
Because I also got this from her, and those were both read at like in the same time of my life, and so I think it was Jess.
I am technically on the second book of the series, and by on it, I mean I've read the first page of the second book a couple days ago.
Love it.
It's still marked currently reading, and I'm going to read it because it's a buddy read. We're all failing, so it's okay. I am really liking it, though. Did you guys read the first one for the Taboo Book Club last month?
No, I didn't get a chance to.
What was?
Dirty Kisses.
No.
By Kenya Wright. It was really good. I really liked it.
Yeah. I think I have it downloaded, though, so I should. Yeah.
Well,
I will read it so that I can say I've read an actual mafia book.
You read Cora Riley?
No, I haven't read Cora Riley.
Would you read?
No, I haven't. I'm going to read the Dirty Kisses.
She's going to read.
It's good.
I will read it.
It's nice and quick too. It does not take forever to read.
Yeah.
Mafia is such a great subgenre. I can't believe you haven't read any.
No, like corporate bosses, I'm down for some reason, but Mafia, I'm like, eh. I don't know why. It just doesn't. It never appeals to me.
So you like the bland version, but you don't like the flavorful one with the tattoos and the growls. And
Maybe I just don't like all the death and like darkness.
In my mansion.
Yeah, no, I think that's. I think I'm just not a fan of the. I'm gonna lock you in my mansion.
Okay, well, there's a couple that don't do it.
I will go to one of your Mafia recommendations, Heather, and I will read them, and I will make a video that I will never upload because I will never edit the footage, and I will just tell you about it for the next year.
You could never do it.
Maybe that's what I should do.
Because they would be currently reading for like 3 years. The person might even be on BookTube anymore.
No, that sounds like a plan. I'll do it Heather's Mafia Romance Recommendations reading blog.
Same. I'll do that too.
Listen, if you do that, you guys should read Little Dove by Layla Frost.
I know, because you keep
Yeah.
recommending Little Dove. I was going to be one of the books.
Mafia adjacent, and it's so great. It's all I want. I have my books.
I will add it to the list.
Straight up contemporary.
Beautiful Bastard by Christina Lauren, or like Hating You, Dating You by Christina Lauren. My first contemporary was a Christina Lauren book. That's what I'm learning.
Yeah.
I think mine was either the Playing for Keeps with the neighbor one, or the first Romantic Suspense. I think one of those was probably definitely my first contemporary.
Yeah. If I can't count a small town contemporary romance, then it would have been Playboy Pilot by Penelope Ward and by Keeland.
I actually really like that author duo.
Yeah.
And I never pick them up anymore. And
I think I read Hate Notes and then started crying while I was driving my car because I had the audiobook.
Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah, for memory, it's a woman who, like, totally ridiculous reason for running away, but she has to get her inheritance, she has to get married. And she's decided to go on a trip and take her mind off it and try and figure out what it is that she wants to do. And she ends up meeting the pilot of the plane that she's flying on in the lounge. And then they have a stopover somewhere, I think. Yeah. Anyway, it was fun.
I read this. I might have.
Yeah.
I think by Keeland always makes me cry. So
This one, I don't think this one will make you cry.
how does that look?
Everything. And I don't think I've ever cried at one of
Right.
their books. I don't know if I've read them separately. I can't remember.
I've read a couple of their books separately, but mostly I read them as a duo. But I haven't read anything recently.
They have good banter, if I recall correctly.
They do.
What about your first fated mates? Because this is like my favorite thing all time. I love fated mates.
Gosh, I'm trying to remember.
Is this Tithe Fated Mates?
What?
Tithe from Holly Black, the person who wrote the...
Oh, I don't know. I didn't read Tithe.
That was my first book that I read, like, that I vividly remember, like, reading and reading and reading and reading and reading. I read it like 15 times because I was an obsessive child. So I read it when I was like 14.
Did you love The Cruel Prince?
I put it down and never picked it up.
God.
Oh,
Listen.
I got to the end of book 2 and then I couldn't do it anymore.
Soon, I'm going to do a video of books I almost DNF'd and adored.
Is that one of
Cruel
them?
Prince. I almost DNF'd that book, and then I loved it so much. Because it goes from like a very kind of, it's obviously in fairy, but it still kind of goes from a contemporary high school bullied vibe into spies and assassins and, you know, more of the court politics, and I loved it.
My first, I don't know if it was Fated Mates. It was called Megan's Mark, and her name was spelled like mine. And someone I was dating was like, I found this book, and then gave it to me. And this was when I was in high school. This was like senior year of high school.
That's funny.
And I think that was by Laura Lee, I think.
Yeah. I know who.
Yeah, that was my first Fated Mates. I just remembered that. Oh my god, that like blocked out of my brain. I was gonna say the Night Hunters novels.
Your Brotherhood is a long series.
Yeah. I thought that might have been the first one, but it turns out it's not. If I don't include Guild Hunters, because I've already talked about that, then it is probably Slave to Sensation was the first one. But I did lose my 2018 spreadsheet, so...
Oh, no.
Well, I don't know what I did with it. I just can't find it at the moment. So I'm double-checking on Goodreads, and I read Slave to Sensation before I read Black Dagger Brotherhood, so I'm going to assume that that was possibly the first.
Mm-hmm.
But
my first one was Throne of Glass, But then if you're going for straight adult romance, I think my first one was New Species, which I just talked about.
I
And
cannot find that book anywhere. I'm gonna have to buy it.
my library has it.
Mine doesn't.
Listen, they're so good. I was just thinking about this the other day when I was editing. I think I'm doing a really bad job of getting people to pick these books up with the way I'm explaining them, because I'm like explaining all the things that made me like, no, I'm not interested. Because like I don't like sci-fi. I don't like.
Is this the one where they've spliced human and animal DNA?
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Listen,
It was in her last video, I think.
Protective, adoring alpha mates who will do anything for their mate and just like live to make her happy. They're so sweet.
It was in Heather's pregnancy books.
It wasn't.
It was, yes. But I've heard it mentioned a few times before that. So
you can read all of them as standalones, although they definitely make sense to read in order. But and it is interesting. I have mentioned a few times how when you think about how the government treats any marginalized group, it's kind of ridiculous to think that they would actually do all these good things because of public opinion for this group that was just discovered. But there's like a lot of religious hate groups against them, you know, that think God didn't create you, you're animals, you shouldn't live. And so that's like a big thing in the series. And that's where a lot of the suspense and kind of villains come from. It's very interesting, but each hero is just so freaking sweet. They're so sweet, and they all have weird sex things. It's a thing. But they're like, they do anything and everything, and especially like the first couple of books. The first book starts with them still in captivity. So that first couple, there's never been a couple between New Species and humans because they've always been in captivity. So they're like, it's not going to work. And there's like all this drama about it. It's so good.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that I just went and actually bought that book while you were talking.
That's so
Because
good.
everyone keeps telling me to read it.
One of my subscribers who like watches all my stuff, she just told me that she read like the whole series this last week or in a week. And I was like, oh my God, because she read 14 books in a week. And I'm like, they're so good.
Yeah. That's me with any Alona Andrews series. It usually gets read in about a week. So that's good. I will read it.
I feel like I might have DNF'd this. I could be lying. But I think I might have. New Species by Lauren Donner. Let me type it. The first book is Fury. They're so good. If you like fated mates or mates and a protective alpha who worships the ground that his woman walks on, and I like it too because there's like different sized heroines and there's different personalities and a lot of them, but like the New Species, like if you're their mate, they will tell you every day how amazing you are and stuff. I just love it. I
need someone to tell me I'm amazing every single day.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
I would.
They're so sweet. That's all I need. That's all I want. I want an alpha hero who, at the same time, man, he will do anything for her. And he will kill you if you look sideways at her. Like, that's all I need. I don't understand what's so hard about this. Okay. We are getting close to being done, I think. But do you guys have one that you really want to do?
Mm-hmm. I think we hit all my big ones.
Yeah, I think we hit most of mine as well.
Okay. This was fun.
It was fun.
I have a long list of books now to read.
I added one.
I was supposed to remind you of one and I forgot what it was.
It was the graphic novel BDSM one.
That's right. Thank you.
Sunstone.
I'm just going to send that to you now.
You should do that. What is a subgenre that you have not tried?
Apparently, Mafia.
Yeah, apparently Mafia.
I had no idea what a morality chain was until today, and I still can't think of any that I've read. So I guess morality
You're
chain.
going to read one. Heart of Obsidian is morality chain.
I have a hard time remembering which ones are as well. Not gonna lie.
But I think
I read Motorcycle.
I've read Motorcycle. I don't like Motorcycle.
I just haven't read any.
You all. I went deep down a Motorcycle Club hole there for a while. I'm typing the wrong things. I'm typing when I'm talking. That's not what I want to do.
Yeah, no, I've heard a couple of recommendations for Motorcycle Club romances, but yeah, none of them have really grabbed my interest. But I think it's possibly because I'm not as interested in Mafia romances as well.
Ooh, okay.
You haven't read them. You don't know what
I
you're.
know, but I'm just saying that the synopsis doesn't really grab my attention.
For anyone who wants to read Fury by Lauren Donner, it's $4.99 for the Kindle book, but it's only $1.99 for the audiobook if you add it on, which means for the Kindle and audiobook, it is $6.
Nice work.
Nice.
I might
Okay.
have to do that now.
Listen, I'm trying to find my first motorcycle. Aha. Found it. Reaper's Property by Joanna Wild. This, I think, is like the OG one. I think it's a lot of people's first ones. I think that she started writing it before it was really a romance thing. Oh, clicking the wrong thing. There we go. It's so crazy. Do you guys know anything about Motorcycle Club romances?
I've read a couple. I just haven't been a huge fan of them. But I haven't tried that one.
Only very vaguely.
Like
Okay.
I tried, what is it? It's the one that came before Welcome to the Dark Side.
Lessons in Corruption.
Yeah.
It's on my TBR.
I read like 25% of that book, put it down, and never picked it back up. Because I was just like, no, I'm good. This is not it. Then I think
Okay. So Motorcycle Club romances, they have, well, Motorcycle Clubs is not just the romances. They have road names, and since they're picked by a bunch of men, a lot of times they're not all that sexy. Sometimes the ones in, it's good, you should reread it. That's 10 years ago. I was married in 2011. Long time. A lot of things happened between now and then. Anyways, okay, so his name is Horse, which I'm just not gonna lie. It takes a minute. It takes a little bit to get over that fact. I can't deny it. But apparently he's hung like one, and that's why it's called that. So, I mean, but the interesting thing is, and I think this is why it works so well for a lot of people's first introduction, is that the heroine doesn't know anything about motorcycle clubs at all. So, yes. So, motorcycle clubs, their woman is called their old lady. And you wear your man's cut, and that shows that you're a taken. Cut is their leather vest with their name, and it says property of, and then their road name. And then nobody messes with you. Nobody touches you, any of the things, like you're off limits to any of the men at the parties and stuff. Well, he's like, she meets them because her brother is into some shady stuff. And he is like coming to see her, and he's like driving several hours, like every other week, to come see her and stuff. And they're like starting a romance. And he's like, I want you to be my old lady, which is like the highest honor. Like you can be the girlfriend and never get to be old lady. It's the equivalent of wife. And she's like, excuse me? No. So she turns him down. And then her brother, being the idiot that he is, gets into $50,000 in debt with the motorcycle club because he did something stupid. And they're gonna beat him up, amongst other things. And she's like, no, take me, I'll save him. And he's like, well, you're not going to be my old lady. You already turned that down. So he pays the motorcycle club $50,000 to have her. And she like goes home with him and she's basically a prisoner, but like not, but she knows like her brother's going to be beat to death if she leaves. That's so good. It's so good.
I read King by T.M. Frazier. That was the other motorcycle one I read.
I DNF'd it. It's fine.
There's the motorcycles I read.
I don't like the ones where they're like actively with another woman at the beginning of the book. I don't like that.
It's valid.
But I'm just saying, Jessica Gadziella has a lot of motorcycle series that you could read.
You love Jessica Gadziella.
Listen, she's amazing. I love her so much. I talk to her on Instagram all the time. And it all started because I was starting my booktube channel and I didn't want to butcher her name. So I messaged her, was like, hey, how do you pronounce your name? And now we message all the time because she loves Taylor Swift and I love Taylor Swift.
Ooh.
I love her books and she watches my videos. And I haven't read any of her books in like a month and a half and I feel terribly guilty about it. You don't even know.
You promote them nonstop, so I'm sure it like evens out.
I talk about her all the time. Listen, she's really, really good. And I feel like this is another one where maybe I don't recommend it the best way because I tend to mention the plot more so than the couple, I feel like, for her books. But she always has little like nuggets in there, like a quote where you're just like, you know, that is how life is. You're right. You're very deep over here. And she's really funny. And her heroes, they treat their women well. See?
I will add her to my to-read list.
You haven't done that yet?
I am buying Fury right now. That's not Jessica Gadziella, it's just the thing that I'm doing.
Jessica Gadziella, most of her books are on Kindle Unlimited, so she is pretty accessible also. And even if they're not Kindle Unlimited, her ebooks are always really cheap.
Well, it's come to my attention that I need to return my Kindle Unlimited books that I haven't been reading, so maybe there'll be space.
I cannot even with you. I'm like, this has been on here for 3 weeks. This is just a waste of space. What am I doing?
Oh no, I don't. Oh man, I've just been rotating out the manga.
Okay, see,
Kayla, let's read it together.
I returned like 7 manga without reading them the other day. I'm just barely. I'm like, no. But also, I'm in a very bad reading slump, so ignore all of my advice currently.
I've literally only been reading manga and anything I can get on audio because the thought of reading books on a page wears me out.
You need to read shorter books. That's my advice.
I've been reading like novellas and I'm still just like 5 pages in. I'm like, okay, I'm done.
I think that was just March. March was
a month. Terrible for the reading.
Look.
Kayla's honest with herself.
We finished one book. Kayla, we finished that reindeer transformation story together.
What?
Was it like 30 pages long? Is that why you made it through the whole thing?
It was very short.
Yeah. All right.
Just the words reindeer transformation.
I mean, when it comes to holiday, I think sometimes going wild and wacky is the way to do it. It makes it not quite so repetitious. Not quite just reading Hallmark movies, you know.
I know we're about to finish, but you know what we didn't talk about?
What?
Sci-fi romance.
Oh, Ice Planet Barbarians.
Yeah.
New species / Ice Planet Barbarians.
I figured that was probably what it was going to be.
What's yours?
It was Ice Planet Barbarians, and
yours was too.
Yeah, but it was funny because a lot of people had started. I think it was right around this time people started talking about it a lot on BookTube, and So it must have been 2019, and I went to the Melbourne Writers Festival, and for the first time ever, they actually had They had a day of romance panels. So they actually had authors and reviewers talking about books, and there was one panel where it just kept coming up constantly in this room full of people at this very, prestigious writers' festival. We're all talking about Ice Planet Barbarians. I'm like, I should go read that now.
It's solid.
It is.
So I didn't get it from a recommendation. I got it recommended to me on Kindle over and over again. It was like, based on your reads.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, no. I do not have a thing for aliens. I don't think I ever could have a thing for aliens. I feel like it's very sterile and icky. And I was like, well, it just keeps telling me that I might like this. And 30 books later, I read like 9 books of that series, and then I read like 8 books of a different series, and then I read like the 6 books of a spin-off series, and then I read like all these other like first books and series. It was so many aliens in like a row. And I was like, I was wrong. I was wrong. I can do it.
It's something to be said for that escapist. I think they can do that so well in sci-fi romance, just because you can do whatever you want.
Well, and I think Ruby Dixon is truly brilliant in that I literally think every single person, or at least 99% of them, who pick up Ice Planet Barbarians are like, I'm not going to like this.
Yeah.
And then they do. Like, she does such an excellent job of selling you on these blue aliens. And it's so cute. I think it's almost more primitive or feral than people expect it to be, and I think that's a big part of why it ends up working.
True.
It's greatness. If you haven't read it, you totally should.
It is worth it.
Yep.
I need to go back and catch up. I think I'm only like 6 books in.
I've read book 1.
But it's a series that you can sort of just go back and pick up whenever you want something short and easy to read.
I think I sold out. It was the first alien female being the main character, and she wasn't a very likable character in the books coming up to it. And I'd read like 8 in a row, and I was looking at reviews, and they're like, "Yeah, this one's not as good." And instead of skipping it and continuing, I just stalled out. But I've read a lot of her other books kind of since then, because she does make it where you can pick up a book from a spin-off series or skip around and it still works.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, Key. I read the first The Dragons one. I did not read. I think Ice Planet are the best, personally. Have you guys read the others?
I read the first of the dragon one.
You don't count.
Rude.
No, I haven't read the dragon ones yet.
It's like sample size.
It was, I think, I'm trying to remember if it was Ruby Dixon or if it was someone else. It was probably Ruby Dixon. Isn't it like one of the mail order bride ones?
Oh,
okay,
that was Ruby Dixon, but I don't remember what that book is called. But
yeah,
the Aliens Mail Order Bride.
Yep.
Yeah, the Aliens Mail Order Bride. That one was cute.
I read that one. I read the werewolf one and the midwinter one in that series. But for some reason, I haven't picked hers up yet. I'm sure it's great.
No, it was cute.
All right. Thank you two for coming on here with me. And I'm very happy that we got Stef when she wasn't working during our live.
Yay!
We did good work over here.
I get 2 weeks and then I'm stuck with weekends for 10 weeks. So.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is it's regular holidays.
Yeah.
Regular 2-week breaks.
I don't have holidays. I have my weekends and that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm a stay-at-home mom who also does childcare for other people. So it never ends.
Yeah.
Children.
They're the worst. 1 out of 10. Do not recommend. Should not be in charge of raising tiny humans.
Look, from 9 till 3:30, I usually have 21 5-year-olds. So
No candies, Bill.
yeah,
Nope.
I hear you. It's fun.
Well,
I train adults, so it's just like herding cats. It doesn't matter what age they are. It's always herding cats.
Yeah.
a little bit. I feel like children almost seem like they are more afraid of being in trouble, so they probably listen better than your adults do.
Oh yeah, no, my adults bounce like halfway through the day, and I just have to like mark it down. I'm like, well, this person's gone. And they're like, you need to tell them to come back. And I was like,
They're adults.
yeah, can you come back to class, please? Like,
That's funny. Really. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chatting romance. And I'm sure we'll do this again sometime soon. That's all.
It was fun.
Bye.
Bye, guys.